Yeah, we're starting to wind down a little bit here on our project 2. So I want to get out this information, and this is going to be the outline portion of that. I think it's kind of key, and I'll guarantee you, or I can tell you what's happened typically in the past is that um, folks kind of overlook this portion of it, and they don't want to actually write the paper yet or even start working on the paper yet, so they turn in kind of a half-baked outline that doesn't have enough information for me to get a good feel about where you're going with your project. So try to make this a bit more complete, or tell me what you're going to do in your project so I've got a good feel for it. That's the only way I can give you good feedback then that will lead to you finally writing a good paper. So here we go. For this part, you're going to just do an outline, right? And some of this is a little bit ambiguous, but some of it is not. And what do I mean by that? Well, this part's not ambiguous. Okay, these are the parts that have to be in your final paper and thus in your outline. So what you're going to have, and it doesn't have it here, but you need to have an introduction. Okay, you need to have a conclusion, right? I probably should put that in here, and I may add that. Okay, so you got to have an introduction. You have to have a conclusion. You'll see that's actually the next assignment, is that you're going to write an introduction and a conclusion. But at this point, you can put that in outline form. And then you're going to have a brief discussion. I should have brief there, about the industry in which the company competes, a brief history of the company. Some people would probably put this one ahead of this one first, I suppose, in order. Kind of makes sense. You're going to have a little introduction. Tell me a little bit about the company. Tell me about the industry that it competes in. A brief discussion about the company strategy. What's the overreaching strategy of a particular company? Walmart is always the low price, right? Tesla is probably a niche at this point in time. They're looking to fulfill a niche, those people want to purchase electric vehicles at this time, right? And then lastly, but most importantly, an in-depth analysis of the financial data. Okay, your final paper is limited to 5 pages. Okay, I fully expect at least 40% and maybe 50 or 60%, so 2 to 3 pages of that ought to be the financial analysis. That's what I'd like to see in your outline then. In other words, if you don't expand this a whole bunch in your outline, yeah, I mean, it'd be nice expanded enough so I know what you're talking about. Same with the history and same with the strategy. But if you don't expand this, you'll get a nasty note from me in your feedback and a little lower grade that says, hey, I didn't see enough of the financial analysis to have an idea where you're taking this. What's that mean? Well, it means you got to start your research now. Okay, you should have started it last week. Right? Start your research, start looking at your company, start digging for some things. It's amazing when you look back from day to day how things might change or how they might look, how they might be a little bit different. And as we go along here, I'll probably send out some short videos that just say, here's how I would look at this particular company, and here's some of the financial things that I would report on. Okay? I give you a full paragraph here about some ambiguity in the financials. Okay, and I say that each company is going to have some different things that have come up. Okay, one of them may have had some tax things that happened last year. I was looking at somebody's company just the other day. They sent in one of their assignments, and I took a glance at it, and they had a huge loss in other for last year. Now, what is that? Well, I guarantee you that that's going to be in the annual report, okay? And I guarantee you that I'm going to be looking for that when you write your final paper, okay? Those types of things are fairly easy to spot, at least, that there was this big other expense, but we got to dig a little deeper and see what happened there, okay? I say sometimes that the most difficult companies to analyze are those companies that are just kind of steady eddies. Each year from year to year, they just kind of grow a little bit. Their income goes up a little bit. Their earnings per share go up a little bit. Might be wonderful companies to invest in. but it's kind of hard to find, good reportable things to write about. Well, this company's just done really well the last 4 or 5 years, so it becomes a little bit more difficult. Yeah, so start digging for those things. Start looking at the financials. Send me questions if you have questions. Believe it or not, there's very little that I enjoy more than taking a look at a company and looking at their financial statements and trying to figure out maybe some things that are going wrong. And I like it when you challenge me, when you say, gosh, what happened? I can't figure this out. Okay. But I fully expect that before you ask that question that you will have looked at the annual reports and those things. Okay. Annual reports are going to be a key. Are you going to be able to look at just 1 year's annual report? No. You're probably going to have to look at 3 or 4 years worth of annual reports to get some trends. Or it may not have been last year that something exciting happened. It may have been 2 years ago, okay, that something exciting happened. And so you got to go back, look that up, see what the deal was. Okay. I imagine in the last few years there should be all kinds of stuff for most companies that we can write about. Because a couple of years ago we had a huge tax change. Corporate taxes went down big time. Was that 2016 or 2017? But that may show up on a lot of, when you look back that 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years, and you should look back that 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years. We had COVID last year. Oh my gosh. For some companies, that was a huge benefit. Obviously for, if you're doing a cruise line, OMG, right? Holy cow. Pretty difficult year for cruise lines and airlines and those different things. So, okay. So when I say I can't imagine that I'll make major changes, that's true, in terms of the format of the outline and whatnot, but rest assured, unless you really start digging deep, you're going to get that note from me that says, boy, I sure wish you would have put more in the financial section so I know where you're going and what types of things you're looking at. Okay. I give you a couple examples of outlines. I get folks turning in things sometimes that don't really look like outlines that much, and so an outline's this, right? Kind of what your deal is, your paper. I don't know that I would use this and fill it in. I'm not sure that it's the best. It's just to give you an idea. Using Word, you can just come up here and do outlines. I'll show you that in a second. But it's some things that you should have, right? Outline, title. What's the first thing? Introduction. The last thing, conclusion. Okay, you got to have an introductory paragraph. You have to have a concluding paragraph, or more than one. Okay, and then I've given you what the other major items are that are going to be in there, right? The industry, the history, the strategy. Okay, there's your 4 major points that are going to be in there. Your job is to kind of fill those in, right? Another example of what an outline looks like. You might be able to, use this one, okay, let's see, you'd have to add one more, in there somewhere. And some of these you may delete, especially on these first few, because, the history doesn't need to be that long. The discussion about the industry doesn't need to be that long. You get to the fourth one then that you'd have to add, and I think you can do that simply by coming here. Let me see if I do that. Yeah, nope, doesn't want to do that. So I say it might be easier sometimes if you come up, open up a new, blank document. You can just come up here and say multi-level list, numbering, create a numbered list. These are bullets, I believe. Yeah, probably want more of a numbered list, right? Oh, how do I want it to look? Okay, well, I want my head ones to be this. Boom. Okay, there's one. It's pretty small. I might want to make that a little bit bigger, but then I got introduction, right? Oops. I can't type. Boom. Then it goes to 2. If I hit my tab, it does the indent, right? And then it's going to stay. Oops. Hit the tab. Type a little something in. It's going to stay there. Okay. Unless I go hit the shift in the tab, and then that takes it back. Okay, shift and tab then takes it back, and it goes back to the bigger letter, and that'll just keep going down stair step, if you want to, throughout that. So this is probably as easy way to set up an outline as anything. Certainly you can put a title in and whatnot, and then start this up here. So mess around. If you have some problems with the format, let me know, and we'll figure that out. I'm a little bit more concerned with substance than I am the format, although I don't want, every now and then I'll get some people that practically write the paper and turn that in as the outline. That's not what I want to see. I want to see you, do an outline in an outline format and get that submitted. Thanks. Good luck. Holler if you have any questions. I may be moving the date up on that a little bit too. I think I got it for April 9th, and we should get that turned in about April 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, somewhere's in there. So I can get them reviewed and get you some feedback. We're going to be running out of time, shortly after that. So thanks.